a mask does, it's doing two things. It's keeping you from breathing particles in the air, but it's also keeping particles from you from getting in the air to infect other people. So this is an N95. I hear about these all the time. I bought this at a hardware store several years ago. I've had it around for working in the shop. Can't blow out the candle. And then similarly, particles in the air very seldom get through this mask. Here's a mask made from two layers of cloth, made by a gal at the Planetary Society, Emily Lockewa, who's very skilled, and this has a pipe cleaner in it. Some air gets through it, but not nearly as much. Now, some masks aren't especially good at all. Here's a cloth mask that someone's experimenting with. Not every cloth mask does the job, but in general, a mask keeps particles from getting in the air to infect other people. Here's the thing. The particles that are carrying the virus are droplets from your respiratory system, from your breath, from your nose and mouth. And so when they get in the air, they don't fall like pebbles. They fall very slowly because they're so small. If you are maple syrup and a popcorn kernel, and you drop the popcorn kernel in maple syrup, it falls, but very, very slowly because the syrup is thick. The same is true of particles from your breath when they get in the air. Here's a laser pointer, which I'll keep on using this remarkable clothespin technology. And then when I put baking powder in the air, you can see it here. You can also see the baking powder up here. It doesn't fall like a rock. It stays in the air. So when someone breathes in your presence, it's very likely in a closed environment where the particles can't blow away, it's very likely they'll get inside you. This is not rocket surgery, everybody. This is very much in your everyday experience. So please wear a mask, please.
Yeah, listen. You were preaching to the choir here. Do you have any idea, Bill, how long the particles last in the air? Say a person who has COVID has been in the room and the particles are in the room. Do you have any idea how long it lasts after they leave the room when somebody else walks in?
How long it lasts? Well, I'd certainly say 5 minutes, but we had a gal from MIT on the podcast on Science Rules who's a fluid mechanics expert. And the fascinating thing is how far the particles go when you cough or sneeze, and then how long they persist. It's certainly 5 minutes. One study had people waiting 45 minutes to enter the room. So the answer is, once again, absolutely without question, it depends.
And what about, Bill, the importance of wearing the mask? We're running out of time. I want to make sure we cover this. Because I see people wearing the mask, but it's not covering their nose. Why is that important to cover your nose, too, in addition to your mouth?
Oh, man! If the nose is exposed, you're not wearing a mask. Why don't you just walk around spitting on me? What are you talking about? You have to cover the nose. I mean, this is, as my parents remarked many, many times, both parents, common sense is not that common. You can't count on it.
Common sense is not that common.
Wearing a
what
mask
about outside? What
is
about
common sense?
Yeah. And what about when you're outside and you're jogging or you're riding a bike and there's no one around? Should you still be wearing a mask?
Well, I would say in common sense terms, probably you don't need to. But when someone's within 10 meters, 30 feet or so, put the mask back up. Put it on. And if you can't breathe well enough with the mask on, then do a different activity. Slow down. We've all got to get through this, everybody. And we just can't say, well, I have a right to breathe really hard and exercise in public and spit on everybody. We can't have that, at least for the next several months. Yeah. So let's do this. Come on, everybody. We're all in this together. I know, Gail. You're doing important work, you all. Carry on over there.
I hear you. I don't think we can say this enough. I thank you, Bill Nye. Listen, a lot of people were watching you tie your bow tie before we went on the air. They said it was very impressive. I said, is that hard to do? They go, not when you watch him do it. Thank you, Bill Nye. Thank you very much.
Hey, you guys, this is a square bow. It won't come untied during the day. When you all get a little older, you'll all be wearing bow ties. Carry on. Thank you.
All right. And before we go, do you quickly have anything about the science of dogs aging? Is it 7 years or more than 7 years? Do you have any science on that? Yes or no?
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure this new study is quite reasonable. You know, I spent a lot of time talking with dogs, and they certainly act
All right.
like kids. Well, they don't always respond, you know. They act like kids when they're puppies, and they act like very thoughtful older people when they're older. So that it's, as we would say, non-linear. It's very reasonable to me.
All
It's
right.
very reasonable.
Thank you, Bill Nye.
Now,
Thank you.